Hello, my name is Darkbond, and I was given this code for Heroes Odyssey, which I'm really interested to play. Accompanying me today is Lola Buppy. You might hear her snoring during this one. Normally I see him on Twitch once a week, getting into workout streams, but Darkbond 007 at twitch.tv. Maybe we'll rebrand at some stage, but for right meow, let's get into this game and see what it's all about. So yeah, we have sound. We do. Maybe there's no sound currently. Listen here, you know. No, it's good. It's good. Lots of achievements, but they'll probably spoil us, so let's not do that. Go into new game. Enter a realm where gods and nightmares conspire, monstrous horrors thirst for mortal blood. This journey is not for children or the faint of heart. Anxiety and depression may be magnified by the tears within. By playing Heroes Odyssey, you confirm you're at least 13 years old, except the possibility of confronting truly upsetting content and your own grim fate. Well, I'm 33, so we can do this. It was ugly as it always was on this day of the year. Oh, you've got to press auto for every scene. Heavy rain fell from the dark clouds which covered even the tiniest scrap of the sky. The headlights of passing cars were reflecting off the wet asphalt. Air, always the same. The wind-tossed trees already lost half their leaves, which now leapt and danced above the sidewalks, never hurrying passersby, clutching their umbrellas. Colourful lightning bolts frequently streaked across the sky, their long branching shapes striking fear. Deep thunderclap, the sound grew closer and closer. Alright, let's turn auto off, because I'm not fast enough. The sound of fire truck sirens echoed through the streets, stopping curious onlookers who, as they turned to look, tried to guess where an accident had occurred. It was the first time I had the chance to observe such a gloomy day from above, and the roof of the university I attended. Taking advantage of the break before the last class, I decided to spend it here, hidden from others, yet able to see everyone around me. I watched the other students, some walking home and some rushing towards their cars, with bags and backpacks shielding their heads as if afraid the rain might melt them. I saw groups of friends and couples strolling through the park, their wet hand clasped together between two umbrellas. I never carried an umbrella. I wasn't afraid of the rain. Besides, that way, I didn't have to worry about the wind trying to snatch it away from me. I simply kept walking towards my destination, and once I got there, I waited until my clothes dried up. Not really an inconvenience for me. I'm not made of sugar. At times I was met with curious glances and prying comments, asking if I seriously couldn't afford the luxury of an umbrella. I never paid them any mind. Perhaps 5 years ago I might have been bothered by someone mocking me, but now I couldn't care less. No matter what others said, it was meaningless to me. Nothing was the same after the tragedy that befell me. Never thought I'd have to face the death of someone so close to me. I remember stopping hanging out with my friends and completely neglecting my classes, which caused my grades to plummet. It's a miracle I even managed to get into a college. However, thanks to the help of others, I started working on myself. Some might think I'm a depressed melancholic, but it's weather like this that puts me in such a mood. I was usually a pretty cheerful person, or at least I tried to be for the past 2 years. Not to mention, today marks the anniversary of the tragedy I mentioned. The anniversary of death, which is always hard. Someone once told me that rain falls when God cries. I laughed in their face, telling them that God isn't real. But when I realized that every year on the same day a downpour hits the city, I began to wonder if there wasn't at least a little bit of truth to it. Such an unforeseen death of such a good person would surely sadden even God. I walked up to the railing at the edge of the roof, hoping to stay unnoticed by the college staff. I clutched it and looked down at the stairs leading to the main entrance, located directly below me. Tear after tear fell down my already wet face. Cold gusts of wind made me start feeling the chill outside. If you were here, I bet you'd tell me a thing or two about how I'm acting right now. You'd tell me how much of a dumbass I am, standing this close to the barrier, especially when the ground's so wet and slippery. Even though it's been 5 years since I saw you, I still knew exactly what you'd say to me even now. I know what you're thinking. Calm down, go back inside, and stop with this moody crap. Fuck. Honestly, I just want to know how you're doing. I raised my head to the sky and closed my eyes. I took a deep breath, letting the cold air fill my throat until I felt the chill scratch at my larynx. I exhaled, repeating this a few more times. That was my meditation, my way of reaching out to my memories. I remember a scene from many years ago, my first attempt at cooking, back in elementary school. And I went on a trip that included cooking classes. Wait, to make teriyaki, which shouldn't have been a problem for kids our age. However, it proved to be quite a challenge for me. Not only did I burn my omelette, but also salted it so badly that it was impossible to even try. Noticed me struggling, so he invited me to a station. Together, we managed to fry the best teriyaki in our group. I remember the time we went skiing together. Even though he already knew how to ski, he spent the whole day teaching me how to do it. We had an instructor, but he insisted on teaching me himself because he knew what worked best for me. As it turned out, he was right. I caught on quickly, and the very next day we were racing each other down the hill. But my favourite memory of all was playing heroes and villains. And I used to go to a nearby playground where we put on a real show for the kids from the neighbourhood. We'd throw on towels straight from home, wearing them like capes. And then we'd become real anime heroes. We'd grab our toy swords and battle to the death. I always got to be the superhero, not that I ever complained. I wonder though why my never minded being the villain. I figured he just knew that I didn't want to be one. Our fight scenes must have been really spectacular because all the neighborhood kids would gather at the playground just to watch us. Sadly, bad things always seem to happen to good people. I felt as if some evil being had infected my mind. An alien memory appeared in my mind, one that had no right being there. I'd seen it often before, but I knew it was nothing more than a trick of my mind. 2 bright headlights. That image flashed before my eyes every now and then. I knew it wasn't real, but each time it appeared it felt less and less foreign. Suddenly there was a loud crack. Honk. A bright flash lit up the sky, followed by a deafening boom. I looked ahead and saw a tree in the park across from me go up in flames. But the pouring rain snuffed it out just as quickly. What a strange coincidence. Spending a thunderstorm on the university's open roof probably wasn't the smartest of ideas. I felt my heart race as I remembered once more what day it was today. A day without the person I won the best teriyaki contest with. The one I raced down ski slopes and the one who was my superhero. The feeling of longing rushed back to me. A sharp pain invaded my chest and a helpless groan escaped my lips. I swallowed that huge lump in my throat. I miss you. I miss you so much, wherever you are. Give me a sign. Can you hear me? Give me a sign if you can. I then felt my hair slowly lifting upwards towards the sky. I couldn't believe it. Was that the sign I was waiting for? tears still running down my cheeks, I smiled to myself and thanked aloud. I felt fulfilled. I could finally go back inside. When I turned on my heel, ready to rush towards the door leading to the top floor of the building, flash blinded me for an instant. I don't fully remember what happened next, but just a moment later there was a loud crack, loud enough that I could have sworn my ears had started to bleed. I lost my footing, fell to the ground with a loud thud. Unable to catch my breath, I alternated between trying to open my eyes and making a sound. No dice. All that was left for me was to beg for help in my thoughts. Then I heard it once again. Familiar voice calling my name. Ow! I let out a soft groan. I felt a stinging pain at the back of my head, but I couldn't even muster enough strength to rub it. Nor could I open my eyes, let alone move any of my limbs. Our game will contain various mini-games. The mini-game is about to begin. Hit this circle at the right moment. Good luck. I could hear the murmur of the sea somewhere nearby, along with the sound of waves crashing against the surface of the water. In the distance, the squawking of seagulls could be heard. Where am I? I heard an incomprehensible mumble escape my lips. I was trying my best to record the last thing that happened to me. I remember standing on the roof of my university. The weather was horrible, and it only got worse after that damn storm. Then a bright light blinded me. A bright flash blinded me, followed by a thunderclap so loud it nearly ruptured my eardrums. I couldn't remember what happened after that. Judging by the surrounding sounds, I guess I'm no longer in the city. The suburbs, maybe?
Hey, you!
Ooh, voice. Voice, huh?
Can you hear me?
A masculine voice was calling out in the distance. Unable to open my eyes, I could only assume I was the one he was calling out to. I heard her footsteps. A moment later, the sound of bare feet shuffling along sand. The man walked up and stood right by my head. I could hear his shallow breathing. Just keynote, that's how you complete mini games for the first time. Thank you for listening. He must have been casting a shadow over my body because I immediately felt comforted, and my skin, which had been burning up, could now breathe a sigh of relief from the sun. How strange. Such scorching sun in late autumn. I could have sworn it was raining just a moment ago.
Everything all right? You look pretty worn out. Taking care of a stranger. Oh, just what I wanted.
I mustered enough energy to slowly raise my left, and then right eyelid. My vision was still blurring. Even though my eyes were playing tricks on me, I could tell I was on a beach. My brain trembled. My brain was still sluggish, so it took me a moment to recall that the nearest beach into the city was in. I didn't even know where.
Oh, you're alive! What a surprise!
I let out a quiet groan and closed my eyes. The bright colours, too much for me to handle. I tried to wake up my overheated brain, asking it where I was and why, though it proved to be harder than expected. I could only remember fragments of what had happened. At that moment, I couldn't tell whether my morning on the rooftop had been a dream, or if I was in one now. Fuck. My head started rubbing my temples. My fingers brushed against tiny grains stuck in my hair. Either my dandruff had come back with a vengeance or I was lying in sand. I wasn't sure which scenario was more likely. As my strength slowly returned, a sudden wave of panic surged through me. Cold sweat trickled down my back and face. I placed my hands at my sides and took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled. Bless whoever invented meditation.
Are you dead? Hello?
Hello?
Seriously?
I swear, if you've had too much wine or smoked too many herbs, I'm gonna strangle you with my bare hands. The stranger seemed to be slowly getting frustrated with my silence. I waited a moment longer before mustering the rest of my strength to rise off the ground. My vision was still playing tricks on me, blurring even more, probably due to how quickly I'd gotten off the ground. Even so, I could still make out that the mysterious man standing before me was practically, if not completely naked. My vision was still unfocused, though I could clearly tell that his legs were hairy, almost unnaturally so, and that he was wearing a strange pair of shoes, almost looking like hooves. When I saw his face, my heart skipped a beat. The man wore a truly lifelike mask with horns and elongated, almost elf-like ears. Was it Centaur? He looked like a member of some cult, the witch cult. Only after a few moments was I able to regain my sight, so I took another look at him and froze in disbelief. His hairy legs weren't just excessively hairy, they looked like they belonged to a goat. His shoes looked like real hooves, and the mask seemed to be his actual face. At that moment, the stranger no longer seemed like a cult member. Instead, he started to resemble the devil himself. I let out a booming, uncontrollable scream which startled the demon, making it recoil to the side and snarl at me. Who? What? What are you? Well, now I can be whoever you want. Oh, he's got some riz. I noticed the glint in his eyes. I bet those eyes have lured more than one person in. Wasn't comforting in the slightest. Not comforting at all. I felt goosebumps slowly appearing on my skin. I was frozen like a statue, only able to stare at him in horror. He was meeting my gaze, looking at me with curiosity. He brushed his hair, wavy hair, back with his hand, then grabbed his goatee. Have to admit, in hell where he probably came, he must have been a model. Demon! Okay, now you've gone too far. Do I look like someone who takes pleasure in torturing human souls? Yes! Correct! Relax, I'm just messing with you. For your information, just because something has horns and hooves doesn't mean it's a demon. I wish someone would shout when they see a demon. Ah, satyr. Because that's exactly what I am, a satyr. Always the same.
My name is Callius.
Callius. Was it all just a dream? Yeah, it must have been a stupid dream. Because how else could you explain the presence of a demonic goat? Things like that only happen on TV. Creatures like that have no place in the real world. So if this was all some elaborate prank, they really went all out with the special effects. At least I hadn't ended up on some psychological horror instead. I glanced around, I saw a multitude of rocks and a vast sea that stretched out, disappearing over the horizon. I then looked up. The sun was shining so brightly, its glare almost blinding me. I thought to myself that I'd wake up any moment now. This dream was different from the rest. It was so realistic I could feel the scorching sand beneath my feet, hot sun on my skin, the breeze and the salty water droplets on my face. Callius, the man standing before me, looked as real as they come. I couldn't stop myself and touch his stomach. I was surprised by how real the touch felt, and even the scent of his fur and oils. I looked up, meeting Callius' gaze, his arms crossed, his horned head swaying from side to side. Gulping nervously, I took a step back.
You flatter me. But how about you introduce yourself first?
Forgive me, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't a dream, whatever, little frickin' gooner. A dream? I assure you, boy, this is no dream. I'm very sorry. Alright, no big deal. What are you even doing here? Where the other humor? I bit my tongue before finishing my question. I didn't want to be reprimanded again, so I quickly corrected myself. Citizens.
Easy there.
Calm down. We're not the only ones here. The very well hidden beach. Hardly anyone knows about it. I stumbled across it purely by chance after getting lost on the trail. So you're very lucky that I decided to show up here today. Lucky? Where even am I?
Where? On a Greek island called Damathea. That's where.
Oh. A Greek island? Hold on. A goat man. A Greek island. Did I just wake up in a mythological world? I was starting to regret that my knowledge of myths was limited to what we covered in literature class. At least the major I chose didn't turn out to be such a bad idea. Who would have thought that European literature would come in handy one day? Though, now I think about it, I think I'd still prefer the psychological horror. Go and play Umineko then. Whatever. I wonder how Callias would react if I told him he's just a fictional character. We can Yappy-chan, or we can skip the topic. Maybe we should Yappy-chan. You said a Greek island like the one in mythology?
What?
Mythology? Callias seems genuinely taken aback by my question, almost as if I asked him which modelling agency he worked for. I felt more and more self-conscious with each word I spoke. You know, the collection of myths about Greek gods, demigods, satires, and all that. He looked deep in thought. He squirted his eyes, sunshine lighting up his face. Zeus, Aphrodite, Hades, Diomedes.
Enough!
I stopped immediately, widening my eyes. Callias seemed furious. Have I done something to anger him once more? I gulped and tried to force out an apology, but it came out so faint that he didn't even seem to hear it. Callias stopped his foot and took a menacing step towards me. I was afraid that my adventure might end prematurely.
You're pushing your luck.
Are you seriously trying to test the limits of my patience? Or are you perhaps trying to prove to me that my kind is not as smart as it might seem? Am I foolish enough to believe your every word? You have something to say to me then. No. Excuse me for saying all that. I'd never ever dream of belittling you. It's just where I come from, this world is only a fantasy.
What?
A fantasy? Still going with this? No, I'm so sorry. Where are you even from? Japan. Never heard of that village. Sounds exotic. Excuse me? Did I hear him correctly? I'd understand if someone didn't know where my country was, but mistaking it for a village? That sounded like he was just trying to get under my skin. It sounds so isolated from the outside world. No wonder it's hard for you to believe in such an advanced civilization as ours. Seriously? Alright, I've probably earned that one. Tell me, Callias, what exactly am I doing here? I should ask you the same thing. And then there was an awkward silence. I perfectly understood what he was trying to imply. I also prefer to go back to my uni's roof and simply head to my gothic literature classes where we discuss interesting novels. Callias must have noticed how embarrassed his blatant dislike of me had made me, because he eased up a bit and no longer sounded like an asshole. It looks like the sea has washed you up on the shore.
How strange.
Actually, it says how curious, but I'll allow you that ingenious comment. No wonder he was so rude. He probably got so many compliments for his looks that his ego inflated like a balloon. I had this one friend back in elementary. The compliments from our classmates really messed up her head. One day she flat out told me that I was too average to be her friend anymore. Listen, I am amazingly confident in everything in life. However, I would never belittle someone as being too average. Everyone is good at what they're good at and they can work at what they're not. So, okay. That stung. What was that?
Forget it. Unless...
There's one more explanation, though it seems even less likely. What's that? Before I arrived at the beach, I saw a single lightning bolt cross the sky. Or at least, I thought I did. I think it struck somewhere around here. Now that I think about it, it might have hit this very spot we're standing on right meow. I wasn't sure if I understood him correctly, but I believe Callius was suggesting the lightning bolt could have brought me here to this beach. That theory shouldn't have surprised me, all things considered. After all, I was currently shooting the breeze with an ill-mannered half-man, half-goat. I wasn't sure about how much time I've spent on this island, but I was pretty sure I wasn't just washed ashore by the sea. My clothes should have at least been a little bit damp, but I didn't feel anything sticking to my body, not even my briefs. Not to mention that I probably would have drowned before washing up on the shore. I didn't think I'd been lying on the beach for too long either. If I had, the scorching sun surely would have made its mark on me. I didn't have any sunburns, not even reddened skin, no sign of heat stroke-induced headache either. Callius stood in front of me in silence, probably checking if I'm smart enough to catch his hint about the lightning bolt. Or maybe he didn't want to say it out loud, knowing how outlandish it sounded. I just had to show him that I'm not just some clueless nobody. Oh my god, that would totally make sense.
Huh?
OMG? Ah, I forgot you probably don't know what slang is. Slang? OMG is a short way of saying, oh my god. It was funny seeing how the tables had turned. Now the satire was the one who was confused.
You're not making much sense.
Which god are you referring to? You know what, Callius? Never mind. Your village speaks a strange dialect. Lightning bolt, you said?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a bizarre occurrence, I thought I was seeing things at first. But there's not a single cloud in the sky. How could... Exactly. If the lightning didn't strike from a cloud, but from an open sky, then that means...
Shh.
Shh. Callius suddenly pressed a finger to his lips and pointed to a nearby bush that was swaying unnaturally. I watched as he assumed a combat stance. He lowered his head, showing off his horns like a moose or a ram would, and impatiently stomped his hoof on the sand. He motioned for me to hide behind him. I wasn't sure if he was playing the hero or if he genuinely wanted to protect me, but I obeyed him anyway.
You thought I wouldn't notice you? Who are you? Show yourself at once.
Well, I watched as Callius tried to act all dangerous and intimidating. Looked downright ridiculous. Even adorable in his own way. Like an angry goat. I was hoping he could at least fight.
Enough!
Get out, now! Show yourself, or else I'll dive in there and give you what for? All of a sudden, a figure clad in a green robe leapt out of the bush. I could swear it froze in midair for a brief moment, suspended high above us. I barely had time to process the stranger jumping between me and Callius, separating us. They pulled out two razor-sharp daggers, pointing them at us. I instinctively jumped back, almost tripping myself in the process. I was hoping that whoever this person was wouldn't think I was trying to attack them. Raising my hands above their head in a gesture of surrender, I tried to look the attacker in the eyes. They had a long green hood on their head. I couldn't see their whole face, but from the shape of their small and elegant nose, full lips and delicate jawline, I could tell they were a woman. Just the sight of her long reddish hair peeking out from under the hood gave away quite a lot. What is happening? Who are you?
You're pushing your luck.
I advise you put down your weapons or you'll regret it. The woman let out a quiet laugh and leapt high into the air. Using only her legs, she spun above me and gracefully landed right behind my back. She seized my wrist and yanked me closer, pressing one dagger to my neck while keeping the other aimed at Kalia's. I felt two medium-sized pillows pressing into my back. She's got some personality. The woman pulled me even closer, clearly not wanting to let me go. It was the first time I'd felt the woman's press against me, though not quite the way I'd imagined. The blade scraped my neck, snapping me back to reality. My eyes opened in terror. Beads of sweat rolled down my forehead, maybe from the stifling heat, or maybe from the thought of my impending death. It was hard to say at the time. Oh, this has to be a joke, right? I just woke up and someone's already trying to kill me? What in the fuck is going on?
Shut up.
Oh? Don't tell me what to.
Don't forget who's holding the knife here.
Fair point.
Who are you two and what are you doing here?
Definitely looks like a witch cult member.
We were just getting around to figuring that out ourselves.
How about you tell us your purpose here? How'd you find the way to this hidden beach? I saw a lightning bolt. Again with that lightning bolt? I followed it and ended up finding you. So the lightning wasn't just a figment of Kalias' imagination? Could it really have been what brought me into this world? I guess it would make sense considering it struck me back then on the roof. The more I learned, the less I liked this dream. I wish I could just wake up already.
Stop this!
Let the boy go. Killing him would be pointless. He doesn't even know where he is. No need to dirty your hands, he won't make it past the first trail he stumbles onto anyway. Excuse me? I'm sure we can work something out. The woman stayed silent for a moment, as if she was actually considering Kalia's words. I was about to lose all hope of getting out of this alive as suddenly felt her hand press against my back, shoving me forward with all his strength. I flew straight ahead, landing face first into Kalias' stomach. He rolled his eyes and grabbed my shoulders, turning me around. So embarrassing. Thank you. Thank you for sparing my life, ma'am. You said you saw the lightning bolt? I've seen it too, but honestly I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. That's why I had to make sure. The woman sheathed her blades and removed her cloak with hood, revealing thick long hair tied in a bun. At last I could look her in the eyes. I froze, noticing a long scar running across one of them. It looked painful. I glanced at Kalias, who was also staring at her with intrigue. She must have noticed our curiosity because her cheeks quickly flushed. She averted her gaze and sighed.
Well, well. A female assassin.
An assassin? There was something captivating about her presence. Not for the intimidating scar, her smooth, useful skin would make her look like a beautiful and seemingly innocent girl. It's chilling to imagine the kind of fight she must have endured to earn a mark like that. The scar didn't look like it was made by a blade, or the hand of a man. Could it be the result of a bout with some wild creature? An animal, or maybe...
Got a problem with that?
Easy there.
Easy, Tiger. Don't get me wrong, I admire women who aren't scared to fight. Wait a second. Why did you need to make sure the lightning bolt was real? What's so special about lightning bolts anyway? A bolt from the open sky is not exactly a common sight even here. Not even here?
It usually indicates the presence of the Father of Gods.
Father of gods? You mean Zeus?
Watch yourself.
Show some respect. What? Don't use his name, it's uncouth. I'm sorry. They didn't teach about that in school. Too bad there wasn't a class on surviving in a mythological world. I came here as quickly as I could, but he wasn't here. Instead, I found you two.
I see.
Not be ridiculous, though. What would a god like him be doing in a place like this? That's what captured my interest.
Unless...
Callias gave me an uncertain look, as if trying to suggest that I could be the reason Zeus had chosen to come to this beach. I barely held back my laughter. Why on earth would it be me? Even in this mythical land, I was just an average Joe. Nothing more than a face in the crowd.
Huh?
Unless what? The woman looked like she was about to draw her daggers and stab us out of sheer frustration. I glanced at Callias. Something about him felt off. Unless he just wanted to take a dip.
Huh?
Take a dip? What? Gods have human needs too. You are one, wouldn't you want to swim like a model every now and then? How do you know I'm not one? The woman's words were dripping with irony. Callias' odd comment about swimming really stuck with me. At first I thought he was genuinely talking about me being the reason Zeus came here. An assassin god? Please, that doesn't fit at all. The woman mumbled something under her breath, which judging by expression wasn't anything pleasant. Hey, calm down, both of you. We've just managed to bury the hatchet. Wow. I felt a hand clutch my wrist. Callias leaned closer, his lips hovering next to my ear.
You better keep that mouth shut.
Hope.
If I told her Zeus is hurling bolts around this place because of you, I bet she'd cut you down before we could even blink.
Hopefully she can't hear what he's saying. I felt a surge of heat rush over me. So in the end, I wasn't wrong. Callias actually thought that Zeus came to this island? Because of me? I barely let you walk away with your life intact. I don't remember burying any sort of hatchets. And you? Why do you keep insisting that this beach is so secret? Finding it among the trees is no small feat, you've got to admit that. No idea, I just used the road.
What?
A road? To my secret beach?
Again with this?
Please, just knock it off already. I looked around and spotted a narrow path, winding through the forest leading straight to where we were standing. It must have been hidden behind the massive shrub where the assassin had been hiding. That would explain why I hadn't noticed it earlier. Oh yeah, I see now. I usually approach this place from the other side. There's no convenient pathways there. Ugh. Callias cut off as the ground suddenly started to shake. I adopted a wide stance, bending my knees and throwing my arms out, hoping to steady myself. I saw that technique in a movie once. Callias did the same. Meanwhile, the assassin crouched low, brushing aside the sand, and dove her daggers deep into the moist earth, gripping them tightly. Shit! What now? An earthquake? A sudden flash blinded us, my ears pierced by a horrendous screech. For a second, I thought I'd been struck by lightning again, but when I opened my eyes, everything around me was the same. Everything, except for the presence of another person. They stood there with a mocking smile on their face, arms crossed, looking down at me with an air of superiority. I turned to the others and saw them kneeling in the sand, their heads literally buried in it. They looked so ridiculous, I wish I could capture their sight on camera. If only I had my phone with me. I stared straight into the man's eyes. He inquisitively raised his brow and clenched his teeth. His shoulder-length hair was as white as snow, matching his thick eyebrows and bushy beard. His face looked dignified. He wasn't old, but he couldn't have been younger than 40. He was dressed in a long tunic adorned with gold elements, making it feel as if I were face to face with a king. A king? Oh my god. Literally. I immediately dropped to my knees and buried my head in the sand as well. My deduction skills were a bit slower than usual, but it finally clicked that the stranger wasn't any stranger. He was Zeus himself. I was only hoping he wouldn't smite me where I'm standing. Maybe I should sacrifice some of my dignity and kiss his feet just to be safe.
You flatter me. Keep going. Just a moment. All right, you can get up now.
We all obeyed. I brushed my sand off my knees and looked at the older man. Couldn't believe my eyes. Zeus in the flesh. Holy fuck, Zeus! I wasn't sure if what I was seeing was real or was it just some elaborate illusion. What brings you to us, my lord? Not what, but who? Zeus raised his index finger and pointed it at me. I widened my eyes, scratching my head in confusion and tried to make sense of it. What? Me? You're really talking about me? That's right, you're smarter than you look.
Boy, I have a quest for you. A quest for a true hero.
Hero? Forgive me, my lord, but I'm no... He raised his hand, silencing me in an instant. Cold sweat washed over me, my legs shaking like jelly. Give it a good old-fashioned save right here, I think. Yeah, sounds good.
Silence!
Do not interrupt me when I speak. I do not lower myself to converse with mortals to be ignored by them.
I beg your forgiveness. You were summoned here, boy, to lead an army. By my side, of course.
My brother, Hades.
The weaker, lesser known one has rebelled against me and our fair division of domains. And in his defiance he's declared war on me, a war that was surely...
I don't get it. What sort of reason could he possibly have to do that? If I remembered my lectures correctly, Hades liked hanging around in his underworld. Why'd he suddenly want to abandon it and declare war on Zeus? Did he just wake up one day and realize he didn't like his share after all? I could only think of one thing that would justify his rebellion.
How dare you!
What did I say about interrupting?
I'm so sorry. I immediately dropped to my knees and bowed before Zeus. The sand had already managed to get into every single crevice of my body, so at this point I didn't even care anymore.
As punishment, you'll stay on the knees until I finish my story.
Listen closely.
Now back to your question.
His reason was love.
So it was all about... Oh, I can't even pronounce that name. I don't know how it's pronounced. Persephone? According to the mythology, Persephone was Hades' wife, whom he kept in the underworld against her will. She was supposed to stay there for eternity at first, but her mother, Demeter, had managed to negotiate her release with the gods. Hades, afraid of losing his beloved, fed her a few pomegranate seeds before she could reach the surface, which bound Persephone to the underworld forever. Luckily, her mother had managed to reach a compromise, and according to the myths, that's how the 4 seasons came to be. Persephone was to spend 3 months with Hades each year, during which the trees shed their leaves and the soil becomes barren, symbolizing her mother's despair. That represented the second half of autumn and winter. In spring, summer, and the first parts of autumn, Persephone could leave the underworld, as her mother was happy to spend time with her daughter. Nature would awaken to life once again. Thankfully, we were discussing the exact myth during one of our last literature classes. Thinking about it, it's hard to blame Hades for revolting against the whole arrangement. If I were in his shoes, only able to see my beloved for 3 months a year, I'd also go mad and declare war on my brother. Of course. Only if I was sure that winning would mean I could see my love every day for the rest of my life. Wow. Little pedestal putter there, huh? Yeah.
As you can see, not all mortals do foolish things for love.
Continuing.
Continuing. Easy to say for someone who finds betrayal so effortless. At first I thought it was just my brother's silly attempt at a joke. A simple need for some innocent rivalry between siblings. But he quickly showed me that the truth was quite different indeed. He started attacking the villagers and taking the lives of mortals. Poisoning the waters and bringing a plague into our wondrous lands, one that consumes not only man but all of nature. The trees shed their leaves and dry out to the bone, the grass loses all its color, and the animals that drink from the poisoned rivers and lakes begin mutating.
Mutating? Like they do in horror and sci-fi flicks?
How tragic.
Day after day, the earth's being enveloped in deep darkness. The villages on the island are gradually falling into ruin, its inhabitants dying in great agony. It seems that Hades is trying to create his own army of the undead, all the while attempting to steal mine from me. Even I can't bear to watch this, and I certainly can't allow him to continue with it.
I won't stand idly by.
My brother took the first step, marching down the path of war. Now it's my turn to take the next step and bring it to an end.
There's just one little problem.
A problem? For the god above all gods? I don't think it was little in the slightest.
All I know is that Hades found a powerful warrior, one he imbued with his power, one who is ready to bring him glory or die trying.
Disgraceful.
His actions are unpredictable, disgraceful, and ruthless. It is he wielding my brother's power in his hands who spreads terror and havoc on the island. He is a formidable foe, but not formidable enough for us to be defeated by him. I know he won't stop until he achieves his objective and brings about one final battle.
That's why I need you, boy.
I lifted my gaze towards him, my knees still planted in the sand. His firm expression made it clear that the word no didn't exist in any dictionary he knew. Why was I the one chosen for this whole mission? The first people I met on this island were a demon satyr and an assassin girl who could jump several meters into the air. So why did Zeus need my help, the help of an ordinary man like me?
Not that I'm complaining about the lack of willing warriors, but you... You have that something that intrigues me. And get up already, I've finished my story.
Terrified, I followed the order. I brushed the sand off of my clothes and gently nodded. Forgive me, my lord.
Me, my wife, my children, and all of the mortals. We all place our hopes in you. So don't you dare disappoint us.
I can't do it. I'll do everything in my power. I feel like if we refuse him, it's going to be chaos. I glanced at Callias and the woman, then finally at Zeus. They all looked so brave and full of resolve. And then there was me, just an ordinary person with no special talents and unremarkable appearance. I knew I didn't belong in this world. Worse still, I feared my involvement in the war might cause more harm than good. I shot Zeus an apologetic look, silently pleading for him to understand. I'm afraid I can't. Zeus raised an eyebrow, his glare burning with anger. I felt a strange electric charge building in my body. I wasn't sure if it was from stress or if Zeus had something to do with it. I took a deep breath, but it did nothing to steady me. Something felt off.
You should know by now I don't take no for an answer. So I'll say it one more time.
We're all counting on you.
Forgive me, my lord, but I must refuse. Are you telling me you care nothing for the fate of mortals, let alone the gods? I really...
In that case, my boy, your indifference leaves me no choice!
Zeus pointed a finger at me. At first I didn't understand what was happening. I saw Callias and the girl leap aside, tear in the eyes. Felt like my heart was about to explode. Stop! I gasped for air, my eyes snapping open. What had just happened? My heart hammered in my chest, my body trembled uncontrollably. Had it all been a dream? I scanned the dimly lit room. What? What's going on? I was in a hospital room? I could hear the steady hum of the machines nearby, punctuated by the rapid beating of the heart monitor attached to me. My ragged breathing was so loud, I only hoped I was alone in the room. Darkness blanketed the room, broken only by the moonlight spilling in through the window. I froze at the sound of an unfamiliar voice, my mind scrambling to place it. I tried lifting my head, but my body refused to obey.
Easy there. Try not to move.
What happened to me? My mouth opened, but no sound came out.
My name is Dr. Myoga. We're currently at the hospital. I'm afraid I have some bad news to share with you.
My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I had a sharp pain in my throat as if I was swallowing 100 needles.
We've observed signs of a shutdown response in you.
Shutdown response? What did that even mean? And why the fuck couldn't I say anything?
University staff found you on the roof. We suspect you were struck by lightning during the storm 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks? Not even a single day has passed since.
You've suffered a serious neurological injury, which resulted in the paralysis of the body. That's why you can move. Or speak.
What? What? What the fuck? It must be a joke, right? A fucking joke?
All you can move is your eyes. I'm sorry, kid.
I wanted to prove Dr. Moanga wrong. Tried raising my hand, but it stayed still. My leg again, no response. Fuck, 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 fuck.
I know this is hard for you, but you need to calm down. Your heart is in a very poor condition. Hold on. I'll get you something that will help you relax.
I wanted to beg the doctor to stay, but I couldn't say a word. Strange fear gripped me. I didn't want to be left alone in this dark room. Something was watching me. I just knew it. It lurked in the corner, waiting for us to be alone. As soon as Dr. Miona left the room, I saw a pair of glowing eyes. Empty gaze fixed directly on me, making my chest feel like it's collapsing. I waited for the cardiac monitor to shut off from overworking. When this abomination began crawling towards me, I could hear it. It's getting closer. I felt its presence right beneath me. The doctor still hadn't returned, and I was fighting for my life. Something started dripping onto my face from the ceiling. Something vicious, reeking of spoiled meat and rotten eggs. The slimy substance flooded my mouth, and I couldn't spit it out. It made its way down my throat. I feared I might choke on my own vomit and die. I tried desperately to call for help, but not even a faint murmur escaped my lips. A drop of the thick liquid splattered against my nose. Nervous curiosity urged me to look up, but fear held me back. No, I'm not looking. I shut my eyes and tried taking a deep breath. Suddenly I felt a violent impact against my chest. Something detached from the ceiling and fell onto me. I couldn't feel its weight, but from the sound it made I knew it was really heavy. It stank unimaginably, like a corpse left in a hot sealed room for weeks. My eyes snapped open and I saw it. The abomination with glowing eyes crushing my body, staring at me up close. I tried to shake it off, but I was fucking paralyzed. The monster opened its mouth and the room filled with horrendous deafening noise. A cacophony of screams, howls and desperate cries for help, as if someone had opened the gates to hell. I didn't know what was worse, what the creature looked like, or what it was telling me. I reached out and touched my forehead. Images rushed through my mind in an instant. They weren't memories, more like visions. Visions from the past and the future. I felt a thick liquid gathering in the corners of my eyes. It wasn't tears. Bubbles started to form on my nose. My ears rang and my eardrums were about to burst, like a metallic bloody taste filling my mouth. Was this hell? I watched these fleeting visions, not even realizing what they depicted. I only knew that such sights weren't meant for a mortal to see. The past, the future, alternate realities, worlds that shouldn't even exist. The creature pressed its finger to my forehead, its long sharp nails into my skull. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Can you correct your mistake? Yes. What? Oh, that is fucked up. Oh, that is Oh, that is too good. It literally closed the game down. It literally closed the game down. We'll need to reload it, but that will be for part 2. Thank you for joining me for part 1. That was amazing, and thank you for very much for the demo. It's available on Steam if you want to play it. Just incredible.